Yo, my peoples, what's up? My name is Jason, and I'm from the Every Night is Game Night podcast on the Dice Tower Network. You may not know my face because I do things usually on the podcast side of things, but I wanted to address the community directly because of, there's a lot of upsetness that's been happening in the Dice Tower community and the larger gaming community. And I wanted to, kind of reach out directly to some folks and share some thoughts. So, there's a lot of, racial unrest out there. It's no secret. And, it's hitting home, so to speak. And, on behalf of the Dice Tower, Tom put out a statement. And that statement was not very warmly received. It said a lot of, good things about, wanting to listen and, doing better and everything. But a lot of people observed that it was missing three important words. Black Lives Matter. And I wanted to address that phrase specifically. And I wanted to be really clear about what I mean. And it's a phrase, I'll be fully transparent. I fully believe in it. I did want to explain what I mean by that. What I mean is, I believe that, Asian lives matter. I believe that Latino lives matter. I better believe that I'm Latino male. I believe that white lives matter. I believe that everybody's life matters. But I believe that Black lives matter. People think that's a controversial idea. Like, what are you talking about? If you're going to say Black Lives Matter, are you saying that Black Lives Matter more than other lives? Are you saying that only Black Lives Matter? Is it a thing where it's like, by saying that I'm kind of taking away from one community and giving to the other community? I think people have that sense. They kind of feel, gives them a strange feeling about that. The other dimension of it is that, like if you go on social media nowadays, and I think some people are a little bit uncomfortable with the, what they call the woke scolding or the woke virtue signaling. It becomes like this kind of purity test where it's like, oh, you didn't say Black Lives Matter. You didn't change your thing. You didn't give the hashtag. You must be a racist. And there's a back and forth, and it's almost like it's this radioactive lump in the middle of a war zone, and that really sucks. I'll just be plain and I'll just say it honest, because that is not the intention. That is not the intention. And I feel like, you won't see that unless you get away from social media. And I love social media. I'm on it. And every night is game night is Twitter and Facebook and all that. But I think social media conversations about this will tend to do more harm than good. They tend to bring more heat than light. I wanted to share my perspective on Black Lives Matter. As a Latino male, that's my life. That's my context, so to speak. And I'm also a social worker. I've been working in Black and brown communities for basically my entire professional life. And in those communities, in real life, Black Lives Matter, it's about George Floyd. He died in police custody. He was in his mid-40s. He was a Black man. He was a man of his community. He was a father. It matters because this happens disproportionately. And that's the word. That's the operative word here, is disproportionately. Every community feels pain. Every community has loss. Every community has traumatic stories. It's a tragic world. But it's disproportional. If you have any awareness of what's going on, if you have any, if you go to any, city, if you go to, experience any, kind of anything in the community, you're going to see that it just disproportionately lands, this violence, this needless violence lands in that community. Ahmaud Arbery was in his 20s in Atlanta when he lost his life, just getting his life started. In my hood, New York City. I'm from New York City. A couple of years ago, Eric Gardner from Staten Island, he was a father, a grandfather. He was in his mid-40s, and he also died in police custody. And I'm naming Black men. It's mostly Black men, but I can also talk about Black women as well. Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, in Louisville. She was an EMT, when she died, again, needlessly. to police violence. And it says a lot that I can go through the whole litany. I could go through every city, every locality in America and come up with some kind of tragic story that is born by the Black community. Every minority community can say something, but it's just something about in the history of America, the way things have played out. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's the Black community that feels this, the direct weight of it. Why am I talking about this? This is the Dice Tower. Look behind me. I'm a raging dork, and I play games, and I have a podcast, and and the Dice Tower is supposed to be about gaming and escapism and having fun. Why are we talking about this? Why is this even a thing? I definitely hear some exasperation from gamers who just they don't want to deal with this stuff. For me, here's why. The Dice Tower is about family. It's about the gamer. It's about, the games and the gamers that play them. It's also about families. And, there's so many different, the contributors in the Dice Tower that are so family oriented. Talking about family games. Most of the hobby is family games. Dice Tower is a family friendly channel. When I joined the Dice Tower a couple of years ago, that was the number one thing. Tom made it very, very clear, family friendly. That is the number one rule to be a part of this particular community. And we have to say, and I have to say, speaking from my experience professionally and personally, that there are families out there that are broken. There are families that are broken at a higher rate than, maybe some of us experience. There are families that would just love to have what so many of us have in the Dice Tower, which is time around a table, peace, quiet, the whole family together, doing whatever. And for us in our community, it's gaming. And there are families out there that won't experience that. Gianna Floyd, 6 years old, cannot do anything with her father anymore. And that gets me. It gets me because I've experienced it directly. And from my perspective, folks in the Black community, they're not different. They love the game too. I used to work in an alternative to incarceration program in Brooklyn, New York, and we played a lot of hearts and spades. When I worked in a youth correction facility in Hartford, spades all the time. Other games, Uno. I played a ton of Uno. I remember in particular, playing with a couple of young ladies, 13, 14 years old. We were playing just Uno over and over again. And, as we played, we would kind of change something. We'd, put in some variants. Uno, not a very good game out of the box. It's just, you're at the whim of the card. And they're like, we're changing things up. We're playing with stacking. We're playing with, different scoring, different rules. They're designing. Isn't that design? I don't know. I mean, maybe they grew up to design games. And they give us, something new and something different, and they make our community richer. I think of all that, and I think, what would happen if you had a connection to that community, if you had connection to a family, and that family was torn apart, and they weren't at the table one day. As an empty chair where there should be somebody who is laughing and smiling and playing. So that's what it is. When we say Black Lives Matter, I guess this is what I would like to see. I would like to see the Dice Tower family and the families that are involved in the Dice Tower take that phrase to mean that we are in solidarity with families who become broken because of completely needless violence. We are in solidarity with communities that are historically experience this stuff. We express solidarity with families and communities who are tired, who are experience this needless violence again and again and again. That's, to me, what Black Lives Matter means. It doesn't exclude, it only emphasizes. So I know that's not going to convince a lot of folks, or maybe it will. I don't know. I know it's not going to convince everybody. But I wanted to put something out there for the people that, they're just kind of figuring out what to think. And, maybe, get a different idea, a different picture that's not social media flame, that's not, division, that is, solidarity, and it's compassion, and it's a call to action. It's a call to discuss. It's a call to inform. It's a call to, interact. It's a call to donate. Maybe you are able to do that kind of thing. There's a lot of creators out there that are posting a lot of links to a lot of different organizations. That stuff is just a few clicks away. Or maybe you want to donate directly to the families. A lot of these families, they don't have the means to go through, at least financially, an early death. So they're financially hard up. So there's, you see the GoFundMe's pop up all the time for that too. There's a lot that you can do. And on behalf of those of us who work for justice, and I'm not saying that I'm, a person that on the front lines or anything, but I try the best that I can. And I guess that's what I'm asking people in the community to do as well, is to just do the best you can, because we could all use as much help as we can possibly get. Thank you very much.